I have a wasp outside my window. Yuck. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Midwest Stitches YouTube channel. My name is Danielle and this is my channel where I talk all about my crafting adventures. Today is Monday, June 9th, and I have a lot of things to show you. There goes my dog. I have a lot of things to show you, mostly because my last episode was recorded on May 22nd, but then I posted it a week later. That was due to the sponsorship with Ana Luisa Jewelry, which the link is still in the description box for that company if you want to check them out. So basically the short version is I recorded it in advance because I think generally a company wants to view the video to make sure that it meets their requirements. So that's why the delay. So the reason I'm saying that is because there is a lot of things to show you. So I don't want anyone to, especially if they're new here, to think that I did all of this in like a week and a half, 2 weeks or whatever. No. There's like 3 weeks worth of stuff here to show you. So let's jump on in with all of the things. So first up, you can find me on Instagram at midwest.stitches, and you can find all of my knit and crochet projects on Ravelry, and that's Midwest Stitches if you want to follow me over there. And first up, we're going to talk about my pattern. I finally released my pattern yesterday. It came out, and if you're new here, I created a pattern for this dishcloth, washcloth, slash pot holder version, excuse me. So I'll run over this really quick. You can find the pattern, you can purchase it on my website, midweststitches.com. So I revamped my website. I went with a new, I don't know, website creator. I don't know what you call that, but I went with a new one that you don't have to pay for. It still looks nice. They still do the normal pay stuff. It's called Fourth Wall. I'll just go over that real quick because I know some of you out there are creators, yarn dyers, bag makers, all that kind of stuff. So if you're looking for a website that you can still sell your products, patterns, merchandise, all of that kind of stuff, I would definitely look into it. Fourthwall.com, fourth spelled out. I'll put it here on the screen. It was created by other YouTube creators, and it is so cool because you don't have to pay anything to use the website. The only time that they make money is if you sell a digital product. There is a certain percentage that they take. It's pretty low. And then obviously the credit card processing fees that go through whatever credit card processor no matter what website you use, they take a percentage of that. So they use the standard amount, so it's not like higher or anything like that. But they make money as well on merchandise that you do. So you can have your merchandise through them, and they use I think it's like a third-party like printer, kind of like Printful or Printify, if you've ever heard of those. Basically any of those on-demand printing services. A lot of people on Etsy use those if they have a shop. It's sent through a third party to have the item printed or made and shipped to you. I use those on a website in the past, and it's kind of convoluted and complicated, but basically the way that they charge like for the money, it's to me it was kind of backwards, so I won't really explain it. But for them, what they do is there's a price, you set whatever price you want for your profit, so it's obviously a little bit increased, and then they do the printing, they do the shipping, kind of like Spreadshirt. I don't have to print it, I don't have to ship it or deal with any of the back end stuff for the merchandise. Then they, once you pay, they take their profit, whatever that percentage is, from the sale, and then they basically put the rest in your account. So to me, it's just easier to kind of have that all in one place rather than this pattern for sale on Ravelry and then my money coming through PayPal, and then the Spreadshirt shop where my merchandise, if you buy it, the payment comes from Spreadshirt. To me, that's just a lot of extra stuff to keep track of. And honestly, I just kind of wanted a consolidated place where I can be like, this is my website, go to it. There's no like Spreadshirt this that blah blah blah, like, or you have to have a special link. I can just say midweststitches.com. You can go to my website, You can, whatever merch, my pattern. I will occasionally have some things for sale that I make. I don't have anything currently, but that's my plan, and that's the biggest reason I wanted to revamp it and use this new website system, is so that I can sell, you know, the 1 or 2 bags or what, sorry, knocked my camera, so that I can sell the 1 or 2 bags that I make, you know, maybe a month or every season or just whenever the mood strikes me, but I'm not paying hundreds of dollars every year to keep a website just to do that. So hopefully that makes sense. And obviously Etsy is always an option if you're a seller, but there's a lot of fees with Etsy. To me, it's just way too expensive. I know it's a way to get your name out there and get your brand seen by people around the world, but to me, it's just not worth it to have to deal with all of their rules and whatever else they do. But that's just my personal opinion. So if you're a creator and you're looking for something like that, definitely check out Fourth Wall. This is not sponsored by them. I genuinely have like loved them. I've been trying to set it up for like the last 2 months, kind of here and there. I actually heard about it from another YouTuber who uses it for her art. So I thought that was pretty cool. And so I looked into it and I'm like, well, this is exactly what I've been looking for years. And I will say their website, if you ship physical products, so if you're a yarn dyer, a bag maker, you crank socks on a sock machine, something like that. Like if you sell like a physical product you're going to mail to someone, they do not take any percentage outside of the credit card processing fee. And that obviously doesn't go to them. So if you're a physical product seller like that, the website is free to use and you do not get charged something extra either every month or every year to keep the website open. So I'm just saying it's an option. I wanted to, I did it again. My knee is knocking the table my camera is on. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there for you guys as an option, since I know some people that watch my channel are fellow creators. Okay, back to the pattern. So my pattern is on my newly revamped website along with some different merch. I'm considering closing down my Spreadshirt shop because I want there to just be a central place, like I just said. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. The new website I have, I can link it to the YouTube product shelf, which if you look underneath this video, you'll see right now it's the Spreadshirt merchandise for like shirts, sweatshirts, all that kind of stuff. It'll link it and then it'll send you to there, but I can actually link my website and show those products as well. So you'd still be able to see that on there if that's something you want. But let me know what you think about me closing down the Spreadshirt shop. That's just kind of my thoughts on that right now. Back to the pattern. Quickly, this is, I'm calling this Hourglass. I don't think I announced that last time. I didn't have the name for it, but this is my Hourglass pattern. And this is the coaster size in the pattern. The pattern has 3 sizes: coaster, pot holder, and dishcloth. So this is the 2-color coaster size. This is the 1-color dishcloth or washcloth size. And this is the 2-color dishcloth size. So these 2 are the same size. And then for the pot holder, if you've been around for a little bit, I made 2 of this size previously and I seamed them together. So they're 2 different colors and I seamed them kind of opposite, you know, this one's this way. And then when you turn it around, the colors face the other way. So for this, I don't have instructions in the pattern on how to seam them together. It's just whatever version you want to do. If you want to knit them together somehow, maybe with an I-cord, that would look nice. I might try that next time. I've never done an I-cord before, but this would be a perfect project to try that out on. Seam them together with an I-cord border, and then you can make a little I-cord loop. But what I did was I single crocheted them together just around the edge and just kind of lining them up. I didn't count or anything like that, so I can't give you like specifics, but I know in the corners I did extra. I did like 3 or 4 single crochets just to give it a rounded corner. And then for the loop that I did a foundation single crochet. If you're not familiar with that technique, look that up on YouTube. Foundation single crochet, there's foundation double crochet, etc. It's amazing technique. Anyway, it just created a thicker loop here, and instead of like single crocheting and then crocheting into that chain back down and then attaching it, I don't really love that method. So I just did a foundation single crochet. I think I did like 15 or 20 of those, and then all I did was slip stitch into this edge, and then I think I did like another slip stitch over, and then I just wove in the end, and that was it. So this is a double thick pot holder, kind of like the fold in on itself pot holder that you would do, which is crochet, but this is just a knitted version, and you just make 2 of them and seam them together. And you could do this obviously 2 colors. You could do 4 different colors on each side, so you can have an 8-colored pot holder. I mean, there are so many variations that you could do to this. Instead of 1 color here and here, you could have half of it a color, like 2 triangles, so it'd be, you know, on the bias that way. But yeah, so this pattern is available on my website for $3, $3 US. And since it is a digital pattern, you shouldn't have any problem if you're an international customer purchasing that in your currency. They do have I think a currency conversion on there or something like that. They do that for the merchandise and digital products. So yeah, head on over to my website and check that out. Okay. So I just wanted to show you all of those things, so you'll only be seeing new ones of these going forward as I work through my cotton stash. Okay, I have to take a drink real quick of my coffee. I didn't say this before, but this could be a very lengthy episode. I'm not really sure, so make sure you have a drink. We're already 12 minutes in. I just have an iced coffee in these. I got these from Amazon. They're those can-shaped mugs, and I love them. I love them so much. I don't know why. It's just one of those weird little things that are making me happy. These are 16-ounce ones. I think you can get really tall, like skinny ones, but we've got our drinks. Let's dive into all of the making. All right, first I'm going to start with all of the finished socks. I have quite a few finished pairs of socks since the last time, but most of them, well, at least a few of them are already halfway done. There was already 1 sock done, so anyway, this one is Legacy Fiber Arts. That's a bad way to show that tag. Legacy Fiber Arts in the Golden Hour colorway. I finished those. Here they are. And it did come with a mini. I talked about that the last time, so I included that for the toes. So there's that pair. I also finished the Skittles colorway. And then, of course, I had to buy some Skittles recently because this made me hungry for those. So here those are. These are my shorty pattern. If you're new here, I knit these socks on 2mm needles, 64 stitches, 8 rounds for the cuff, 4 rounds for the leg, and then I do my heel flap and gusset. And I always follow the counts and the toe pattern and all that kind of stuff. The Crazy Sock Ladies vanilla socks on Magic Loop. That's what I use for all of these. These short socks, these are for me. If they're for a gift, I'll say they're for a gift, which the next pair are. The next pair that I made is from Area 51 Fibers. It's a Canadian yarn dyer, and it's in the colorway Jane. And I actually, this time I split the cake and wrote down what each one weighed. The colors that are listed there, I had them in Yarn Cozies, so I just wanted to make sure I knew which one was which because one weighed more than the other. That was just a me thing. Anyway, so here those are. And these are, look at those. For these I used the Crazy Sock Ladies DK Weight Vanilla Sock Pattern. These are actually more of a worsted weight. If you go back a few episodes or if you've watched for a while, you've heard me talk about this. Because this is an 80-20 base, it is held double, and that is more of a worsted weight gauge. So for these, I use a 3.25, or no, I'm sorry, a 3.5mm needle for this particular yarn. That's thicker. And I actually do the size small from her pattern, which is 40 stitches, but these are an adult, like medium. That's who I'm making them for as a gift. And then I just follow the directions as well for the toe, because she does have a 40 stitch count in there. So I just knit to that length minus the toe measurement and just follow from there. It's just a different needle size, and I'm making them for an adult. So these are obviously a self-striping, as you can see, but they're not supposed to be, I mean, it's very marled the way that, because I held them double. And for these, they're actually, one is a little bit shorter than the other one, if you can see that, by 5 rounds. So I was kind of doing an experiment to see how much I could like knit the cuff and the leg to make sure I used up as much of the yarn as possible. And I did use up pretty much every last bit of this. I don't think there was a lot left. And that's kind of my goal with doing fingering weight held double socks. I'm doing quite a bit of these right now, is just to use up the entire skein. I don't really want any leftovers. Anyway, I think for the first one I did, they both have 10 rounds, but I think the shorter one has 20 rounds for the leg and the other one has 25. So it's barely noticeable, but I'm very happy that these are done. I actually have 2 skeins left of her yarn in my collection to knit up. So you'll be seeing those very soon. My goal is to get those done this summer, because I don't love the 80-20 base. I will say that. That's just my personal preference. I love a 75-25. Love her yarn dyeing. I just don't love the 80-20 base. That's not my favorite. But anyway, when I posted these, or the first one on Instagram, it only occurred to me then that these look like Kansas City Chiefs socks. And somebody else commented the same thing. I don't think the colors are meant to obviously look like this when you knit it up. I think it's the Jane name. The colorway is named after a character on Firefly, I'm pretty sure. I've never watched that show. Adrian liked it, but I'm pretty sure that's where the name came from. But anyway, the marled up, they look like Kansas City Chiefs colors. So there we go. Okay. I have one more finished pair of socks to show you. And I actually have one of them on the blocker still. But this is Deep Stash. I got this at the Kentucky Sheep and Fiber Festival, May 2022, I believe. That's the only time I've ever been, because I was out there for a graduation in Tennessee for family. But anyway, this is the yarn. It is Artistic Yarn by Abby.com. And it is her strawberry sock. And she actually still has this. This website, I wasn't sure she was still in business, but she is. She has some very cool self-striping yarn. It's very different than like Area 51 or Freckled Whimsy or any of the other normal self-striping yarn people that I know of and that I've bought from before. And I'll show you why. So she has some sock sets that the stripes are not the same width, obviously. So here's one of them done. Isn't that so cool? And then the other one, just to show you the stripe on the heel. I did not plan this. It was just random, but the stripe on the heel ended at a different place. So one is kind of in the middle. The other one's at the very bottom. Like literally I finished the last bit of the heel flap and then started the heel turn. And so that's where the stripe ends. So there are those. I've wanted to knit these for years now, and I just never have. Speaking of that, so this is part of my summer, I don't know if I want to call it summer sock box or a box of socks for the summer or something like that. Anyway, I had a bin with summer themed yarns. I will put up a picture here of it on my yarn wall. So it's right over here, but I'll put a picture, obviously, so I don't turn the camera. But these 9 yarns are on my list this summer to knit. That's kind of the goal. I'm going to mix in other stuff, obviously, but I want to make it through these 9 this summer because either I got them last year or years prior. They're just kind of my only summer themed yarns, at least in my mind. So I want to work them up this year. So, and this is the first one off of that picture. And I am currently working on the second one, a second one from that picture. So I will go ahead and show that now because then we'll be out of socks and then it will be all blanket talk. So off of that wall, I picked this color, and I just finished this sock today. Isn't it gorgeous? So this is fingering weight held double again. And this is Granite State Yarns in the Vineyard colorway. This was a Yarn of the Month colorway that she did. So she has yarn clubs. She has 4 different ones currently. And this, I think, excuse me, I think this was from September. Do I have the tag? Let's see. I am holding it in this bag I made last year. This cute s'mores bag. Yes, I was right. September. Okay. So Granite State Yarns, Yarn of the Month for September, and it's called Vineyard. And again, I did the same thing that I did with the other fingering weight held double socks. I split the cake in half, and this is 1/2 of a cake. And I wrote, again, I weighed it and wrote down the amount. So what I did before I started these socks is I actually added in 5.5-ish grams to my Little Squares knitted blanket before I started the socks. I wanted to make sure I had enough for that because I only needed 1 color left to finish a strip. So I did that first, knowing I was going to be making this pair. It didn't matter which order, whether it was in the blanket first or the socks. So I went ahead and put that in my blanket so I could do that. But so this had a little less than 100 grams for the pair. And so I finished this first one, and I kept this. I didn't throw it away yet. I wanted to show you what was left of that little less than 50 grams. This was the tail that was left after I Kitchenered the toe and wove in the end. So this was it besides the starting tail after I wove it in, but there wasn't very much. So super happy to have used up basically all of that. And now I will start the second one and have used up all of that yarn. So that's very exciting. So for this one, I mixed up my formula just a little bit. Because this is a 75-25, I'm still using the DK weight vanilla sock pattern, but this base is more of a DK. And so I use a 2.75 millimeter needle. And for this, I did 15 rounds for the cuff, and then I did 35 rounds for the leg. So I think if I because some cakes of yarn have a lot more than 100 grams most of the time, but I know that if I have just slightly under 100, that this 15 and 35 will work perfectly to complete the sock. And these are for a gift, or will be for a gift as well. So that one is done. And now we can move on to my blankets, and then I have just a little bit of mail to talk about. Okay, so first up, since I just talked about the Little Squares knitted blanket, I wanted to show you, I did add the 7th strip. I finished it over the weekend and added it in. It's this one here on the end. So there's the Vineyard colorway and the Strawberry colorway. So I added all of that in. It's really hard to show this. I don't really want to stand up and show it, but I did add that 7th strip in. And for this one, I actually made the strip a little different. I'll show you the back side for comparison. I decided to, when I was making the whole strip, I used the Crazy Sock Lady's instructions from her DK Jelly Roll Blanket. I think it's the same for her fingering weight Jelly Roll Blanket. But anyway, it's slipping the stitch on each end on the right side and then knitting it through the back loop. You can find that on her page. But anyway, it gave such a nice edge when I picked up the stitches. Hopefully you can see here where I picked up compared to these other ones. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, it gives this nice clean edge here compared to picking up in garter. It's much nicer looking. So I would suggest doing that. However, for my next strips, or at least my next one, I'm going to experiment and I'm going to make it using intarsia. I talked about that last time, but I'm going to have basically 3 balls of yarn going, the contrast color, whatever color I'm using, and then another one here, and work that up this way. That way when I get to the end, when I get to the top and I bind off, the only thing I have to do is seam it to the blanket to me, I'm hoping, I don't know yet, but I'm hoping that that will make my life so much easier and I won't have to pick up all of the stitches along the edge on both sides to make these long rows. So we'll see. I'll let you know how that goes. I have not started that strip yet. I'm probably going to do that later this week because I already have because the bottom squares on mine are a little bit shorter than the rest. You can go back and watch episodes from like from December and whenever. I know I talked about why that is, but I won't go into it right now. Anyway, so there's the 7th strip, and it's this wide so far. And I do think when I'm done, I might do a border on this, like an official border, like an I-cord border, mostly because, let me show you. I'm doing this a little bit different from the pattern. This is a pattern by Julie Harrison. I have it linked on the Ravelry page. But if you can see here at the top edges, like this one right here, where I join them together because they are going different ways, it's not looking as nice as I would like. So I'm toying with the idea of doing a border, an I-cord border around the whole thing. I can't just do the top. I don't think you could do that. But maybe, let me know. Because this is one edge. This edge is nice. This is a finished edge. This is the end, the first strip. So I could keep that like that, but anyway, we're still 5 strips away from making that decision, and that's always something that I can do at any point in time, is do an I-cord border. But I think my decision will be decided depending on how much of the contrast color I have left. And this is Cascade Heritage, the snow colorway. So depending on how much I have left after I finish all of my strips, I think will determine if I do a border or not. So we'll see. But anyway, there is that. Now we can talk about my DK Hexi Flower Blanket. I have made some progress on it. So I'm working on adding in all of the flowers now. I've picked it back up. So let's see, where did I add? The last time you saw this, I had 2 flowers left to be added here. So I added this flower and this green flower, and then I finished off basically all of the edging. So these half hexagons. So this is all completed. I had to do all of this section, these 2 right here. So this portion of the blanket, it's 3 rows currently. Let's see. You can see all that. It's so big. It's very heavy. So this is a DK weight. I'm held fingering double for most of them, and then I have some DK weight for the joining color. So anyway, this portion of the blanket is actually going to go in the bag because I figured out what I'm going to do for the last 4 strips. And it took me doing all of this to figure it out. Because at first when I started putting this together, I didn't really know how to join it. So I was just kind of going with the flow. But now I have an obviously better understanding. So I will show you on here. So what I'm going to do is, let's see. I am going to lay it like this. The strips are going to be joined across. So let's see. So like from here to here, this strip, let's say, I'm going to join them together at these intersections. And then I'm going to, there's like 2 here and 2 here that connect. So that goes each way. So I'm going to make just giant strips of these flowers. And then once I get the 4 strips done that I have left, then I will go in and join them with this row here. Let's see how I can show this. Am I even showing that right? I got it the wrong way. Okay. Let's try this again. This row here that runs in between this row and this row, I will be joining, I will only have to do that strip. So once I get the flowers joined in the strips, I will just have to go through and join with the hexagons in between. So, because right now, because I was only, was only adding in the 2. It made it really difficult to join it because it's heavy and it's awkward to turn when you're doing it. So I thought this would probably make the process a little easier. And what I'm currently doing is a kind of a, I don't know what the word is, like production line, but I have I have 5 skeins of my joining color in here. And what I'm doing at one time is I'm making all of the hexagons. They're 4 rounds, but I'm doing 3 rounds. And I'm doing so I have all 5 of them in here currently made, ready to go. And I'm just putting a stitch marker to hold them in place. And then once I get all 5 of them with 3 rounds done, then I'm joining all 5 of them at once. So doing it this way is just making it easier. I think it feels like it's going a little faster to join them this way. So the strip I'm currently working on, I have them all joined together just here in the middle. So they're just joined here currently. So we've got this row going. So it's kind of all floppy. So now what I'm going to do is there's a hexagon that will go here and here, here and here. So basically there's 5 hexagons in between each flower here and here that joins them together. So I will do that, and then I will put this strip aside, do the next one, etc. And then once I have them all done, then I will start making the hexagons to join to the blanket with the strip that goes in between. And then it will be done. So I kind of have it in my mind, maybe, that I could get this done this summer. I really, really want to finish this blanket. I'm kind of hitting a wall with it just a little bit. I'm hoping transitioning over to doing 1 strip at a time where it's a smaller thing to work on will kind of help reinvigorate me with this project, because currently I'm kind of like, ugh, this thing is just so monstrous to work on. It was so difficult. It wasn't so much that it was like hot or heavy, because, you know, I'm working on it in the air conditioning and it's keeping my legs warm. So I don't mind that part, but it's just heavy to turn and it's just making it difficult. So anyway, I'm hoping doing it this way will reinvigorate me, and then I can push through and finish it this summer. I really don't want to keep this project going for the rest of the year. I thought I might not be able to finish it until like December time frame, but no, I want to get it done. So right now, that's one of my main projects that I'm working on every single day. So what I'm doing is, like say today, for example, I would crochet up the 5 hexagons, and then either tonight or tomorrow, depending on what I'm feeling, I will work on the joining of them. And then the next day I will make 5 more, and then the day after that, join them, and so on and so forth. So keeping up that pattern, I could have maybe 1 strip done a week, because it only takes 16 of them to join, like to have the strip done. So doing that math, 1 a week, I have 4 strips left. I could have the strips done in a month and then just work on the joining row. But I'm really wanting to get it done. So I'm going to push through, because I have another blanket, a fingering weight version of that. I have my star blanket, which I need to go grab. I forgot to grab it before I started this and show you. I have that one. And then I have my little squares knitted blanket. And then I have another like secret blanket I'm working on, sort of. It's in the beginning stages, but I want to finish one of these bigger projects, be able to put the bag away, used up the yarn. It's kind of done and out of my making life, if you will, and I can move on to other things. I'm sure there are many of you that can relate, but I am not one to put a project away and just like kind of write it off and let it linger. I can't really do that. I have to, it's either you finish the thing or you frog the thing altogether. There is no like in between for me where I just like don't work on it for an extended period of time. The only exception to that currently is my fingering weight flower blanket. And the only reason it's not been worked on is because I'm working on this DK one, and when it's done, I will pull that one back out. I just didn't want to have two flower ones going at the same time. I want to give one my attention, go to the next one. So that's where I am at with that blanket. I need to go grab my star blanket to show you. I do have some exciting progress on my star blanket. I have it in this project bag I made a few years ago. It was like a fall print. I love this. Okay, anyway. My star blanket. Let's see. Where is the end? I didn't put my marker in here to keep me from pulling it out, so I just lost a stitch. All right. Here she is. Oh, I'm about to pull it out again. I'm currently in the middle of a color. Look at that. I can't really, it's hard to show because it's like floppy, but here we go. You can kind of get a little bit of a visual of the color palette. I love them. I think they look so good together. So I'm about halfway done with this current color. I'm using the whole skein. And I think that is, yeah, I have the tag. That's Granite State Yarns in Evergreen Glow. Oop. Focus. Anyway, yeah, so I'm using up the full skein for that one. I love it. I think it's so fall. So there's the progress on that. Pattern is linked in the description. If you are curious what pattern I'm using for that, it's not a written pattern. It is a video tutorial on YouTube. Okay, last thing, mail. I have just a little bit of mail to show you. You've probably seen this already floating around, but I did get my Yarnable for June. This is called Cue the Confetti. Love that. And I think the general consensus among all of the knitting community that gets this is to make a Musselburgh hat with this. Because that's what I thought too when I opened it. But I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I might just throw this in the stash for right now and save it for later. I haven't really decided. I think it would make a cute Musselburgh hat. I'm not sure if one of my friend's daughters would like this for winter. I don't know. Anyway, got that. And then I could not resist this. I ordered this one-of-a-kind skein from Granite State Yarns. I love ordering her one-of-a-kind skeins. I have quite a few of them. And that's actually more what I'm drawn to these days for the most part. Like when I see someone do an update, it's like, oh, they only have like, 2 skeins or 1 skein or something. I think it's kind of a combo thing. It's like, oh, no one else basically will have that color. On top of, it's just like something unique. It's not repeatable, or if it is, it won't look the same, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, she had this strawberry rhubarb sock set. And she had 1 fingering weight, which is what I got, and then 1 DK set. So I just loved the colorways. So I don't know, again, if I'm going to knit this up this summer. I haven't decided if I want to put this in the stash. And I mean, because if I run out of all of my summer colors, I'm going to need some for next summer. So I could save this and at least have 1 skein of yarn for summer knitting next year. So we'll see. And my last one, which I was super excited about. So I have been getting the Legacy Fiber Arts Legacy Fiber Arts Schitt's Creek Club colorway every month. You have to go in and actually order it every month when they do a pre-order. And you obviously don't know what you're getting, but it is based off of the show, etc. So when I got this one and I opened it up, I was super excited because now I finally have a sock set or a skein of yarn, whatever you want to call it, to participate in Leah Loves to Knit's Seaside Sock Along that she's doing this summer. And You don't have to have anything that's themed, like seaside or ocean themed or anything like you can knit anything. Like any of these would qualify. But for me, I wanted something that was themed, and this just was pure coincidence and goes with it perfectly. And it just made me so happy. And it even kind of like the colors go with the graphic she has for it. And so this is called Cafe Tropical, which is the cafe in the show. Isn't that so perfect? So if you are following her as well, you will have seen the little graphic that she has for this. There we go. Cafe Tropical. Tropical. I have a wasp outside my window. Yuck. Anyway, so there's that. And I definitely plan on making this summer. I'm not sure if I'm going to start it this month or next month. I'm kind of thinking this month because I do have a couple of leftover Christmas themed yarns, like some leftovers that I've been dying to make forever. Half skeins, and I have those earmarked for Christmas in July, so we'll see. But these are kind of like light Christmassy colors, like beach Christmas colors. I don't know. What do you think? I love it though. I love it. I opened it up and I was like, oh my goodness, this is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So if you're interested in this club, they have a pre-order at the beginning of every single month. And I get the micro sock set, but you can get a full sock set. You can get DK. There's a bunch of different options, but this is just the one that I love from them, is the micro sock set. So there we go. That is everything. That was a lot. Hopefully in this time you guys finished your coffee or your drink or whatever it is that you had. Maybe had a little snack or had to take a break in there. But thank you so much for sticking around for all of that stuff. I do not anticipate taking that much time in between this episode and the next one. That was just a special circumstance. So thank you so much for sticking around and watching this video. If you like the video, hit the like button. And if you aren't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And head on over to my website, midweststitches.com, and get your copy of the Hourglass pattern. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and God bless. Bye.